Hi, morning, Miss Khan.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Ramdas. How are you doing today?
I'm good. We all good today?
Yes, I would think so.
All right. So your tech support in your room this morning is Anil, A-N-I-L.
Yes, I spoke to Anu this morning and she told me it was going to be switched. So I actually spoke to Anil already this morning. Thank you.
So I'm going to make you a co-host, right?
Okay, perfect.
And based on the discussion yesterday, you just need to guide me. Hi, morning, Miss Khan.
Hi, morning. Mr. Ramdas, how are you doing today?
I'm good. We all good today? Okay, I think somebody
Yes,
have a
I
stream
would
on.
think so.
So your tech support. I sorry about that. We were getting a delay on the thing. So Anil, you in your room? Anil? No, I hear you on the phone, but not in your room. So you're good to go, right? So I guess you met Trisha already and all you're good to go. Right. So what we're doing this morning is at 10 o'clock, we're doing a share screen of room B because that's where the national anthem, the opening speech, and the welcome is happening from.
Okay, perfect.
Once once the speech is finished, provided all you allow it today, uh, speech is finished, then that's when you take over.
Well, it's not actually me. It's Miss George is the moderator. I'm the stream observer. After that meeting with you, she switched me from being a
Oh,
moderator. Yeah. So that's why you would see me in all the rooms, but I am the stream observer.
all right, cool. So and then when so what you'll do, you just look out for Miss George and let her in the room when she comes,
Yeah, no problem.
and,
Perfect.
and then we
And
good.
remember, in the meeting yesterday, she asked if right after the anthem, you guys can play the open and the welcome video,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Well,
Excellent.
that's just an audio clip, right? So yes, we'll do
Yes.
that. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
That's the plan we're working with today.
Yeah, great.
All right. So all good. Any issues? Well, I not wrong, but any issues? The three key people today on actually four of them is going to be on today managing this is Amrit, Anu, Anil, and Sugan.
Okay, fantastic.
Or anything, but specific to this room is Anil.
Right. And room D, did we sort out what we're doing with it in terms of?
Well, we still have the issue in that Miss Moses can't. She her password is not working. So what we have to do with room D from the technical side is when room A is closed at 12,
Mhm.
we swap in the same link and coming back to room D.
Okay, so would that encounter the same issue we had yesterday where the ones and twos would be able to come back in?
Yeah, yeah, but no, the ones and twos can't come back in.
They won't be able to, right? Because
No,
I
no,
had
it's
some of
different.
my ones and twos on room D in the afternoon.
Okay, no, the only way they could come back in is like if they go on they subscribe to the channel and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Then when they go, but what they're doing is they're bypassing the invite. They just go into the channel that's streaming and they can enter
Yeah,
from.
some of them did that. They copied the link and they were doing that.
Yeah, yeah. So the channel, once they subscribe to the channel after lunch, they could storm, yes.
Okay. All right, not a problem. No,
All right.
just because they are supposed to be back at school because we only have them for the morning period. So some of
Oh,
them
okay,
came
okay.
online. Yeah, seeing that because I told them goodbye and enjoy the rest of their day, that their session was over. But I guess they did copy the link and they subscribed to it. So they
Yeah,
were back on. Only when I saw them online on chat, I told them that this was for the upper school. So then they left.
right. Well, unfortunately, we can't control that because once they get the channel, they'll come in.
Right. Okay,
But the good news
fantastic.
is, it is whatever the content was, they were excited enough to come back. So that's a
Yes, exactly. So it's a positive.
all right then. So running off on you, Anil, just message him and you're good to go.
Okay, thank you so much. You have a great day.
Okay, thanks, Miss. You too.
Hi, morning. Are you hearing me clear?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. You said you wanted the chat off, right? So that's when the program start, or
Yeah, when the program starts, because yesterday we had a lot of crosstalk on it. So while the
okay, cool.
presenters were presenting, the kids were just talking about all
Yeah,
sorts of things.
no
So it was
problem.
very,
I'll just turn off the chat.
yeah. And yesterday Anu told me that I have to give you all about 10 minutes before I let you know when I need to have it on. Is that still accurate today?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would tell you about 15 minutes before each presenter is finished to go into the question and answer, and then we could open it and then we will close it before the next session.
Okay, cool, no problem.
Do you have the timings of the session?
The timing, yes, I have the schedule.
Okay, fantastic. Great.
Okay, and
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We are about to get started. Can we all stand for the national anthem, please? Thank you. Good morning and welcome to 2021 St. Patrick Career Fair. We are welcoming everyone and we are so grateful to have you with us this morning. And we want to tell all the teachers and all the students, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here with us. All right, so we have with us this morning for our first presenter, a presenter from CTS College, and
good morning, everyone, and welcome again to our district virtual career fair. We are so glad that you have joined us this morning. Yesterday, we had a fantastic day. We were exposed to training programs in IT as well as business. We were also exposed to careers and training in the energy sector, as well as we had a wonderful presentation by SWRHA where they exposed us to the many careers in the health sector. So today we have another fantastic day. We are going to be introduced to the Professional Airline Training Solutions Limited. We know them as PROATS, where they are going to take us on a journey with the life of a pilot, basically, because they are going to be sharing information about how you can be part of the airline sector. Apart from PROATS, we are also going to have a presentation by Marine Affairs. So persons who would like to be part of course, saving the environment and marine biologists and everything else that goes with being a professional with the marine industry, you are going to be exposed to that. So as we await Proats, who will be our first presenter, let me ask the tech team to share a motivational video as we await Proats coming in to do their presentation. So just give us a few moments and we will begin.
For me, it has been to be that guy that does what people say can't be done, you know? And I think it started with trying to please my mother and trying to please my grandmother, and they always wanted higher for me. They always wanted more for me. And it got to the point that I wanted to be something. I wanted to be somebody. And it made me choose certain roles. It made me turn down certain roles. There is more than an image that I want to project. I want to be the person that is the first person there and the last person to leave. That's who I want to be, because I think that the road to success is through commitment and through the strength to drive through that commitment when it gets hard. And it is going to get hard and you're going to want to quit sometimes, but it'll be colored by who you are and more who you want to be. I definitely found that wanting to be an actor stems from wanting to be somebody.
My mom wanted me to be a truck driver because that would mean I'd make $24,000 a year if I went to Truck Masters, and that would be twice what my father made. And she thought that would happen, but something inside of me said, I don't want to drive a truck. There's something else that matters more to me, and I decided I was not gonna go for money instead of passion. And the rewards have been pretty amazingly better than being a truck driver. It's not bad being a truck driver, it's just not what I was after. And I look back, and one of the things that helped me was my original teacher, Jim Rohn, who was a personal development speaker I went to hear when I was 17. He said something the first time I heard him, and he said, you know, it's really simple. If you want life to change, you got to change. If you want life to be better, you've got to get better. It's the only way it happens. And luck will show up for people and to leave them. But if you're constantly improving who you are and what you give, game over.
See if you can find some ways to multiply your value to the marketplace. And he said your income will immediately start to change.
See, if you go through life holding back, and most of us do, most of us, if we ask ourselves, have we done all we can do? Most of us will have to answer, no, we haven't. We've been holding back. We have ideas that we don't act on, things we want to do. We're afraid to take chances. We go through life trying to seek security and not coming outside of our comfort zone, and we take most of our stuff with us to the grave.
Up until then, I was hoping that the economy would change. I was hoping that my company would change. I was hoping that my paycheck would change. I was hoping that circumstances outside would change. And then here's what I found out. It isn't going to change. So then my question was, if it isn't going to change, how will my life ever change? And here's what my teacher taught me. When you change, everything will change for you.
And I'm saying that the fact that you're still here, that you're still breathing, you've got some more work, and you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself. So when you get up in the morning, that you can look yourself in the face and say, hey, I'm living my life on my terms.
Change a question, change your life. When it comes to planning your life, I want to get you to learn to ask 3 questions now. The question you want to ask yourself is, what do I want? What's my outcome? What's my result? The word RPM, the first one, is to get you focused on the target. The target is not the activity. The activity can change. It's what's the result I'm after. If you know exactly what it is you really want, what you desire, what you're really after, clarity is power. The more clear you are and specifically what you want, the faster your brain can get you there. But if you're generally saying things like, what do I want? Well, I want more money. Fine, here's $1, get out of here. whether you get the outcome or not, whether you get that result, will be based first, do you have clarity? And the second thing is, whether you got enough emotional juice to keep going after it when things don't work out. Did you achieve the outcome? Yeah, when you're that general, you think you're not getting your goal, you are. The way you language your goal, the way you think about it, you're receiving it. I want to feel a bit better. I want to lose some weight. Fine, you lost a pound, you're done.
You get better, everything will get better for you. And that's where I picked up that phrase, for things to change, you've got to change. You don't have to change the marketplace. You don't have to change the marketing plan. You don't have to change the economy. You don't have to change countries. You don't have to change circumstances out there. All you've got to do is look within and see if you can change yourself for the better. And as you change, things will start to change for you.
What's the result I'm after? What's the ultimate result? What do I want out of this week, out of this thing, out of my business, out of my life, for my body?
Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going to achieve your goal. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord.
Here's my best advice. Welcome all experiences. You never know which one is going to turn everything on.
Are there going to be some moments when you want to give up? Yes. Will there be some moments when it's going to seem like it's impossible? The pain that you're experiencing, the disappointment that you're experiencing, that you're going to say, it's not worth it? Yes, that's going to be right there for you. It's going to be in your face, telling you to go back.
When we think about changing our lives, usually that means changing your behaviors, retraining yourself, getting new habits, going out and trying them out and changing your life. This is about changing your thoughts, and then your life will change. Change your thoughts, change your life.
Benjamin Disraeli said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake its existence on its purpose. Shortly put, I'll do it or die.
Know that all you have to do is hold your goal before you. Everything else will take care of itself. And I can tell you that it doesn't make any difference what age you are, whether you're a teenager watching this, or whether you're someone in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or anywhere along the way, you can make that change.
Every thought, every feeling, every emotion you experience in this lifetime is shaped by beliefs and values. All of your life is controlled by decisions you make. Decisions about what to believe, decisions about what to feel, decisions about what to do. And most of us are on automatic pilot, letting the world trigger us instead of taking back control of our life. And when you do that, just think of it this way. Anything you want to change. You want to change your body. You want to change your career, your business, your relationship. What to do requires the right strategy. If you want to lose weight and keep it off, you can't obviously just throw your pendulum and go on some silly diet. You got to know the things that are going to give you lasting results. So we teach those strategies. But some people even know what to do, but they don't do it. And why are we able to get people to do it, to follow through? Because 80% of success in anything, my friends, is psychology, and 20% is the mechanics. What that means is there's how to do stuff and there's why to do stuff. How to do it is not that complex. And if you really learn from somebody who knows those refined distinctions, they can show you those tipping points, those things you can do where in the least amount of time you get the biggest result.
As you look at yourself as a business operator, as you look at yourself as an entrepreneur, as you look at yourself as a person that want to make a mark with your life, that want to leave a legacy, you've got to be hungry. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. You want to find people who master that, because success leaves clues. And that's the same thing I'm suggesting to you. Whatever area that you want to go in it's finances, in business, insurance industry, whatever area that you're interested in, find the people who are mastering that and follow their example. Watch your relationships. They're nourishing relationships and they're toxic relationships. Nourishing relationships, they bring the best out of you. They inspire you. Toxic relationships, they drain you. People that are hungry, are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People that are hungry, believe, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry know if you want to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Complain, point at your circumstances, give up your power, blame the government, blame the economy. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. It's hard to make a radical change in your behavior. It's hard to take ownership. It's hard to swallow the bitter pill that wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. That's hard. That's hard. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy.
Okay, very interesting video. The points that I recognize that are very, very critical is that you are the person to be the pilot in your life. Your life should not be on autopilot, someone running it for you, especially when you are at an age to choose the type of career that you want. And speaking of being pilot and not your life being on autopilot, we have ProAts this morning, Professional Airline Training Solutions Limited. They are here to share all that it takes to fly, to be a pilot. So we welcome Mr. Rodney Ragbir and his team. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I hope everyone is staying dry and staying safe. Welcome to our Professional Airline Training Solutions presentation. We have a great presentation in store for you. We will start by showing you a video of our actual simulator and two crews conducting some training. And then we'll talk about the career in aviation. Okay, so let's get this off the ground. No pun intended. Okay, so, and once again, welcome and thank you for joining us. So that was actually a video recorded in our replica of the Boeing 737, which is a jet simulator. And the Boeing 737 is a medium to short haul aircraft. And that is the airplane, if you've ever traveled to New York or to Toronto, or even South America, you would have traveled on the Boeing 737. Okay, so now, as you can see, there was some normal training and there were some abnormal procedures applied to that in that video rather. And we had normal landings, we had normal takeoffs, we had a go around, which means that for one reason or another, we could not land the aircraft. Maybe there was a cow on the runway, maybe there was a vehicle on the runway, another airplane crossing the runway, and it wasn't, for whatever reason, it wasn't safe, and we ended up having to execute a go around. Okay, you would have saw that there was a engine fire and APU fire, and as a crew, we all really handle it together, and that's what's really nice. One of the benefits of being a pilot is you really get immersed in what we call CRM, crew resource management, which is known in layman's term really as teamwork. Okay, so without any further ado, let us get into the presentation itself. And following this presentation, we will have, if we do have time, we'll take a look at the actual simulator itself, and we'll also have a very interactive quiz. Okay, if any of you are interested in becoming a pilot, you can call us. We'd be happy to guide you through, and we'd be able to also offer whatever assistance we can in terms of you realizing your dreams. So just out of curiosity, could I see how many of you would like to be pilots? If you'd like to be a pilot, put a 1, and if you're not sure, put a 2. So I don't see any 1s and I don't see any 2s. Okay. All right. So
Mr. Ragbear, sorry to stop you, sir. Because
Sure.
it's live stream on YouTube, you would be able to see the 1s and 2s. But believe me, the chat was buzzing. So I want you to know, sir, they are on live, looking and hearing everything, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. All right, great. So good. Well, for those of you who do wish to be pilots, my name is Rodney Ragbear, and I am actually a captain with Caribbean Airlines. And I have been flying for just over 20 years. I have just about close to 25 years of training in the aerospace industry. I have trained, I've worked in the military sector, I've worked in the private sectors, as well as commercial in terms of airlines. Okay, so, and for those of you who do have a strong desire, wish to become pilots, I hope you do it quick so I get the opportunity to fly with you. All right. So let's talk about why we should choose an aviation career, a career in aviation. So one, for many of us, flying is a passion. It's a bug that we've been bitten with at a very small age, where, when, we don't know, but we just have this strong desire to fly this massive piece of machinery and take it from point A to point B with, if you choose airlines, with passengers, and you do so safely. Okay. It really is. I have to tell you, I fly into Trinidad, and every time that I fly into Trinidad, the view that I see is, I mean, I can't tell you. I can't give you an example of a better view. I mean, just coming into Trinidad, just flying over that northern range, just seeing the actual shape of the country, it is, I mean, it's breathtaking, to say the least. Okay. If you become a pilot, you actually become a member of a very elite group, because only 0.2% of the US population has a pilot's license. Okay, and that also includes private pilots. So again, you are a special breed, if you will, because pilots, as you'll see throughout the presentation, it's very different from other careers. We have to be lawyers, we have to be doctors, we have to be mechanics, we have to be technicians, we have to be pilots, because we have to know, we have to be meteorologists. We need to know so much about different aspects, because we work. And I say work, but you know, really, pilots don't use the word work. Because we enjoy what we do so much, you would most of the times you would hear a pilot say, "Yeah, I'm flying tomorrow." You know, because we just love what we do. It's some of us can't wait to get out of the house and go jump in an airplane and fly. Okay, so the job itself has a lot of flexibility. If you would think about an average job, like the lovely guidance counselors and teachers who have spent a lot of time and effort into creating this career day for us, they probably work about 40 to 60 hours a week. Pilots actually work about 60 hours a month. Okay, because of the tight restrictions and regulations to ensure that we are properly rested. Okay, one of the benefits is we get to see the world. We get to see the world. We get to mix with different people, different cultures, different. If you're like me and you enjoy food, you get to sample a lot of different foods. It's really great, and you make friends all over the world, and it's I have friends inviting me all over the world to come and come for weddings. Well, this is pre-COVID, of course. Come for weddings, inviting me for an open holiday. I don't need to pay for a hotel. There are so many benefits of becoming a pilot. So the presentation that we have today will not just take you through, will not just expand on being pilots, but it'll talk about some different areas, the different aspects of aviation, because we have in aviation, we have some very critical key elements, and those are, of course, the pilots, because the pilots have to fly the airplanes. We have air traffic controllers who make sure that we are safe and that we are out of harm's way of other aircrafts. And then we have the engineers who keep us safe, who make sure or ensure that we have an airworthy aircraft. And we will expand on each career as we progress. Okay, So why do you want to become a pilot? Boeing's CEO says in the next 15 years, we will require approximately 800,000 pilots. So the next 15 years, they're saying that we require 800,000 pilots. We are going to be heavily in demand. I don't know if I'll be in heavily demand because I'll probably be under a coconut tree, retired somewhere. But you will definitely be in high demand. And what does high demand mean? High demand means people will be making the pot sweeter for you. They'll be offering you more money, more benefits, nicer places to work, flying the most up-to-date, state-of-the-art equipment. Okay, some more benefits. You and your family can travel at a very, very reduced cost. In fact, pilots tend to travel on what we call a jump seat, and there is no cost. If we do it with another airline, or what we call coach sharing, then we pay a very, very small percentage. But essentially, if I took my family to Toronto and a ticket costed $6,000, I would probably be paying somewhere in the vicinity of maybe $600 for a ticket for them. Okay. As I mentioned to you, it's really the best office. You get to see the whole world. I remember when I flew the London route, this was amazing because while I'm flying to London, I saw half of the plane was in darkness, while the other half, there was the sun coming up. And it was really, really amazing. When I left the cockpit and I walked towards the back, I mean, it's something that you just had to see to believe, you know? But again, you're in an office with just 2, maybe 3 or 4 people if you need cruise pilots, and you don't have any bosses around you because you will be competent. Your bosses will know that you are competent to take this this huge piece of machinery to and from safely. When you get to your destination, you are now greeted by your transport, and your transport takes you to your hotel accommodations. And we normally stay at very, very nice hotels. And we get meal allowances, or what we call per diem. So let's say we fly into London, we get about $75 a day to eat. And now I don't eat $75 a day, even though I love food. But so, I mean, a lot of that I would spend, and I would take it and buy my sons some gifts. And they love when I go to fly because they know daddy's coming back with something, right? And the salaries can range entry level into, let's say Caribbean Airlines, for instance. Entry level is just over $20,000, and you can make upwards up to $100,000, and that's per month. Yeah. So do we have any guidance counselors or teachers that want to switch professions?
I'm tempted, sir. I'm tempted.
Okay. So as pilots, there are many different job opportunities as a pilot. You could be a flight instructor. You could be a simulator instructor. If you don't really want to be on a schedule, on demand, and you don't want to fly during the night, you could put on a nice pair of shorts and go fly somewhere down like the Maldives or Hawaii and do some sightseeing flights. You could fly for corporate, which would be companies who essentially need you to take them around for meetings. I have been offered that position as well, where they say, look, I want you to take me to Colorado in the States, and we'll be there for 3 days. Here's a company credit card. Do go wherever you want. Just make sure you're back here for such and such a time. And so you're always, I mean, you're most of the time you're on a holiday, right? As pilots, you could actually invest in your own airline. You don't have to be a pilot to invest in your own airline, but you can. So you could have ownership of an aircraft. And then there's also the regional and international airlines that you can fly for as well. Okay, so let's talk about the requirements that we would need to become a commercial pilot. Now, this is really to acquire a license, and this is in relation to an FAA or Federal Aviation Administration license, which comes out of the States. Most students actually fly, do a lot of their flight training in the States because of the amount of exposure to different weather conditions, hundreds of different airports they could fly. They have lots of aircraft that they can choose from to train in. So a lot of benefits of flying away. But you must be a minimum age of 18 years to acquire a commercial license. Now you can start training earlier than that, but you have to be actually 18 years of age to acquire a pilot's license. At ProETS, Professional Airline Training Solutions, we take students we have taken students from as early as 12 years of age. And I think recently we made an exception for one student who's actually 8 years of age, because I mentioned that bug, and he's been on social media. I'm not sure if he's been on the news, but he's exceptional, a very, very bright young man, and he has a strong desire to fly. Okay, so you have to, for a commercial pilot, you have to be able to pass what we call a Class 1 medical. And a Class 1 medical is a very, very thorough exam of eyes, of your vitals, etc., etc. Okay, you will need to pass knowledge tests and written exams for every stage that you're going through. It's not very, very difficult. They will prepare you for every area that you need to be tested in. Of course, you will have to fly a certain amount of time, and that time will be reflected in your logbook, and it will be signed off from or by an authorized flight instructor or school. Okay? And at the very end of it, just before you're ready to open a bottle of champagne, you'll have to pass a check ride, which is essentially a practical test. And they take you up and they say, okay, show me that you are competent enough to become a pilot and fly passengers safely from point A to point B. Okay, so we have two, this just to give you a little idea of the timeline. We have 2 to 8 weeks of theory and classroom. And then we also have written exams to complete after that. Okay. You need, on average, about 250 pilots. 250 hours of flight instruction time in the airplane. And I have some good news for you. I have Captain John, who just joined us, and he's going to light up our simulator so you can see the simulator. Okay. One day will be dedicated to your check ride, which is that final test just before you open that bottle of champagne, if in fact you drink champagne. Okay, and it generally takes about 2 to 3 months on average to finish your PPL or your private pilot's license, and it takes between 3 to 6 months 3 to 6 months for your CPL, for your commercial pilot's license training. Okay, I mean, so, you know, all in all, you're probably looking at about a year, but that's pretty, that's being very, very disciplined and very, very dedicated. And that's what you get when you successfully complete all of the requirements. You are awarded a FAA pilot's license. To become a pilot, you will need to fly for the national airline. You will need a Trinidad and Tobago pilot's license. So even if you did the license abroad, you come back to Trinidad and you would do what we call a conversion. And the conversion would just be a couple of exams. You write them, and then you'll be awarded the Trinidad and Tobago pilot's license. Okay? You need to have a certificate of character with no criminal history or drug use at all. Okay. The cost of becoming a pilot, on average, students who have passed through our facility have spent about $40,000 US to become a pilot. And the reason why, you could spend a lot more money as well, but our programs really prepare you for flight school. Okay, so I'm not really here to talk to you too much about our facility, but I really want to talk to you about how, the profession as a pilot. But should you need any assistance from us or any guidance, please feel free to come in with your parents, come in and visit us, and we'd be happy to take you through, answer all your questions. Okay. As we mentioned earlier, you must be able to pass a medical. Now, a student pilot medical is different from, it's a lower level of a medical, and then you attain a private pilot's medical license, which is another level, and then you would come to what we call a commercial pilot's license. Okay, and again, that is the highest form of medical that you'd require. Okay, to conduct STAR training, you need to have a good command of the English language. You need to be able to read, write, and speak English. So we've spoken about the private pilot license, and a private pilot license is your first step towards a commercial license. And with that private license, you can actually operate as pilot in command. And you can actually fly out of many different airports. You can fly day, you can fly night, and you can fly to different other different countries as well as a private pilot. The only stipulation or restriction is that you will not be able to fly for hire. So someone can say, oh, you have a private license? Yeah, I'll give you $1,000, take me to Tobago. No, because you don't have a license for hire, which is a commercial license. What you can do is you can say, okay, well, listen, you pay for the plane and you pay for the fuel, and I can take you across. All right. Another aspect of aviation is air traffic control. Air traffic control, when we think of air traffic control, we kind of think of just a tower at an airport, but there's really, really a lot more. Air traffic controllers are really stations that are based on the ground, and they direct traffic through the different airspaces. So let's say we're transitioning from New York's airspace, we transition to San Juan's airspace, and then we go to Piarco's airspace. So there are many different types of controllers, and now we'll talk about them. So this is a view of air traffic control at an airport. So these are the guys who would be clearing you for takeoff and landing. And they would be actually watching you take off and landing as well. Okay. We have ground or clearance delivery, which is another form of air traffic control. And that air traffic control actually tells you, hey, you want to start your engines, you contact me. You want to start taxiing the airplane to the runway, then you have to taxi me. So that's two different types of air traffic control. Then we have tower. And tower is essentially the controlling authority for airplanes, or to grant airplanes permission to take off and land. We have approach, and there's another type of controller who, as you get closer to the airport, you start, well, let's say we took off. You just got clearance from tower, we took off, and now they hand you over to approach. From approach, they hand you over to area control. And area control is the highest of the air traffic control area. And when I say highest, the largest area in air traffic control. Okay, so again, it starts off from the ground, takes you to the tower. The tower says you're clear for takeoff. It sends you off, and it says, okay, contact departure or contact approach. And then they now transfer you on to what we call center. And center is the large area of our airspace that actually transitions you to the next airspace, which would be, if we're flying from Trinidad, it would be San Juan. Then from San Juan, we go to New York. And then from New York, then we'd be stepping down. So we'd be doing the complete opposite. We would take center, we would come to approach, and then we would come to tower, and then we land, we go over to ground frequency, and we taxi through our gates. Okay. Another essential service in aviation is aeronautical engineers. Now, we think of aeronautical engineers as just flying or just fixing airplane engines. But there are many, many, many types of aeronautical engineers. In fact, I mean, once it's in the air, you need an aeronautical engineer. So if you think about a missile, an aeronautical engineer. If you think about a spaceship, it's an aeronautical engineer. If you think about airplanes, you need aeronautical engineers. Okay, so aeronautical engineers are really well sought after and are very, very significant to our everyday life. Like imagine, for instance, our defense systems. We have to have systems in place so that nobody attacks our lovely nation. So we have teamed up with different organizations around the world to ensure that we all share information to keep us all safe. Now, the different types of engineers, we have types of engineers that fix the mechanics of the airplane, or what we call the hard surfaces. We have aeronautical engineers that fix the structural design or the airframe. And we also have engineers who just maintain the airplane, run their daily tests, and we have engineers that are responsible for the aerodynamics. And finally, we have aeronautical engineers that are very, very important for our displays in the cockpit. So all of our switches, all of our instruments, all of our displays, etc., etc. Okay, so the requirements of an aeronautical engineer: you must have a bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering or aerospace engineering. Okay, then that normally takes about 4 to 5 years to complete, and it has to be accredited by accredited body. During the final year of college, students are more involved in the practical aspect and, of course, their final exams. Okay, so I am going to see if you all have any questions up until now. Any questions for us?
Mr. Radbeer, we have 427 students viewing. We are going to open the chat room so that the questions can be filtered. But I think in the interim, let me just ask a question, because I know some student would ask, I would like to know about the health and safety. Is being a pilot a very dangerous job?
It really isn't. Huh? Although we work in a very, very, very dynamic environment, it's not really dangerous. In fact, it's one of the safest forms of transportation in the whole world. I think 1 in every 243 million flights crash. So that's a lot. So again, we are, as a pilot, you undergo very rigorous training. They prepare you to be able to operate in a very intense and dynamic environment, and you're really essentially you're really prepared for any type of situation. So in terms of safety, I think it's a very, very safe operation. I think it's a very, very safe career. And I'm not saying that you may not run into abnormal situations, but however, with your training, you will be able to bring the aircraft safely to the ground with your passengers and your crew, and have engineering take care of it from there on.
All right. I'm seeing 2 questions coming in here, and don't mind that they may be asking questions that you would have already answered. It's just the nature of children.
Sure,
so someone is asking, how long do you have to study to be a pilot? And on top of that, I would ask, is there a continuous retraining process?
Yes, very good question. Both very good questions. So you can acquire a commercial pilot's license from the age of 18 years old. However, you can start training much earlier than that. Okay. I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought. So that was the first question. And the other question was?
The retraining process.
Yes, quite correct. Yes, we as pilots are trained. Every 6 months, we conduct what we call recurrent training. And that recurrent training takes us through the initial training that we did as pilots, plus they create a more challenging scenario where they create a lot of abnormal situations.
Okay.
And then we actually have something, we have another day, which is called a loft. And the loft is really scenario-based training, where they create some hypothetical situation and they say, okay, let's see how you respond. So the loft is not really a check item. It's not really a pass or fail. It is more of a learning experience to say, okay, hey, look, this is what you could have done better. Because remember, we learn every day of our life. And, you know, I've been in the aviation field for 20 something years, and I still learn every day.
All right, thank you so much. Another question, a student is asking, how difficult is it to get into the airline industry in Trinidad and Tobago?
Okay, so at present, with the COVID situation, of course, it'd be very challenging because all airlines are actually, if not downsizing, maybe freezing their hiring and even laying off pilots. That will only be a very, in my opinion, that's going to be a very, very short-lived practice, because it's in a matter of time when, in fact, the numbers that you saw there from Boeing CEO saying we need 800,000 pilots in the next 15 years, I think with a situation like this, I think we're going to experience a surge. And I think that there's going to be even more a requirement for more pilots. So to answer your question, right now, it for the next year or two, I say it might be a little difficult, but we have a lot of pilots who are training right now because they can see beyond. They have that vision and says, hey, look, yeah, maybe they're not hiring now, but by the time I'm finished, they'll be ready for me. And that's how you really have to think as a pilot. You have to be proactive, and you have to have vision, and you can't just play for what you see, you know?
All right. I remember when I was a guidance officer one, I remember a female pilot coming to one of the schools that I was a guidance officer at, and I saw the excitement in a lot of the female students. So in terms of the ratio, male to female as pilots, are there many female pilots?
Yes, in fact, there are. I probably fly with more female pilots now than I fly with male pilots. They're actually in the last year or two, Caribbean Airlines has hired, oh gosh, I would have to say between 10 to maybe 20 female pilots. And that's just estimation for me. My last training session, I went away, and when we returned back to Trinidad, just to give you an idea, we didn't have any male co-pilots. They were all female co-pilots, and females do really well because they're very disciplined. They know what they want and they go after it, and I think the fact that piloting or being a pilot was more of a male-dominated field, that they come in and. But I've had the privilege, I would say privilege, of working with these young, fine aviators, and I think they do an exceptional job.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to see more of them come online.
Thank you. And I think one other question that a student asked, I guess because in the presentation, there was mention of family life. So a student asked how easy it is to be, or difficult it is to be able to have that kind of balance.
Let's talk about when we just joined the airline. When we just joined the airline, let's take Caribbean Airlines, for instance. You would join on what they call the ATR fleet, which is the turboprop, the air bridge, or the regional flights, if you will. Those it's very, very easy to have a very harmonious, balanced family life, because you are essentially working maybe 5-6 hours a day, and it's either in the morning or so in the afternoon. So if my son is celebrating his birthday, I'm going to be with him. I mean, if I don't book it off, and that's in the presentation you would have heard me talk about flexibility, where we can, we have a lot of camaraderie. So we talk to one of the other pilots and say, listen, I need a day off here, I need a day off there, and I'll work for you here and I'll work for you there, etc. But in terms of even if you couldn't do that, you would always be like for Christmas. You would be present for Christmas. You would be home for half of the day at least, whether it be the morning or the afternoon. So as you progress onto the jet, now it becomes a little bit more difficult, because you're away from at any given time maybe 2 or 3 days. So that is that becomes a little bit more challenging, but you can always do that, accumulate some time, and then you could return back to the regional and return as a captain. Or if you like the jet, stay on the jet. Like my boys would love for me to stay on the jet, because I would bring them stuff every day. They don't get anything when I go to Tobago. Yeah, but all really good questions, and definitely, as I mentioned too, like you could take your family with you on certain flights.
All right.
So it's really it is a nice profession.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, for now, we have no more questions, but I heard you mention the possibility of doing the simulator. I know that usually when we are face to face in career fairs, children gravitate to the aviation booth, especially when ProAts is on the floor. So I don't know if we are getting a little sample today.
We will. You are. Thanks to Captain John, who just joined us. He came in on short notice. He lit up the simulator for us. But before we do that, I thought maybe we could run a little interactive quiz that everyone could take part with their smartphones. How's that?
All right. Well, the stream observer who is managing the chat group, you will just be able to feed the answers. So sure, go ahead, Mr. Ragbear. Go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. In your URL browser, to everyone out there, you will see on your browser, you will type in bravozone.us. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, you will be able to see bravozone.us. So type that into your browser, and it's going to ask you for a presenter ID. And the presenter ID will be 0053. Okay, so I've seen one person join on. So again, in your URL browser, type in bravozone.us. And I have Nalini here, and she's going to put it in the chat. So that, okay, we've got another one and another. Great. Now we're cooking with gas. Okay, so we'll give everyone maybe just another minute, and then we'll start the quiz. Oh, love the numbers. Great. So we have the Red Lions and the Blue Tigers. Who will win? Any Miss George, do you have any predictions? Do you think do you have any idea who will win?
I think the Lions might win. I don't know. The Lions might win.
Okay. So just on a note, I have a friend and he can always predict he's always correction in his prediction of a football game before it starts. And he's always right. How is that possible? A little creative, critical thinking. So I have a friend and he can always predict the score of a match before it begins. Well, the answer is he always predicts the score because the score before the match begins is 0-0. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? And let's see if Miss George is correct. Okay, here we go. And you can join in anytime as well, okay? So Miss George, will you be our host today? Will you give us a category and a number, please?
Sure, no problem. So let's go to the first category for 100 points.
First category, 100 points. The CEO of Boeing reported the need for how many pilots in the next 15 years? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. And survey says answer is great. Next question.
All right, let's go to category 2 for 100 points.
Category 2 for 100 points. And I'm going to hand this over to Nalini. And so Miss George, Nalini and yourself, you're in command.
Hello, everybody. Okay, what is the starting monthly salary of a first officer?
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, let's see what you selected. And the answer is, that's right, $20,000.
All right, let's try a harder one. Category 3 for 300 points.
Okay.
Big money.
In Trinidad, the entry-level aircraft with Caribbean Airlines will be the, is it A, Boeing 737-800, B, ATR 72600, C, the Airbus A320, or D, the Boeing 777.
Yeah, we can end it with 3, 2, 1. Answer.
Okay, it's the ATR 72600.
Remember, that's the aircraft that that services the air bridge and regionally, right? Ooh.
All right, so let's go category 3 for 100.
And the blue team is in the lead. Pro ATS accepts students from as early as how many years? Is it 16, 12, 17, or 18?
Three, 2, 1. 70 says.
And the answer is 12 years.
Remember, 18 years is the age that you need to be to acquire a pilot's license. But we take you as early as 12 years of age.
All right, moving quickly along. Category 1 for 200.
What are the minimum requirements for Caribbean Airlines? Three, 2, 1. Let's see what you selected. And the answer is B. That's correct. So 5 CSEC subjects, math and English, it's mandatory. All right, and of course, the more subjects you have, that's the same.
Let's go to category 2, 200.
What is the starting monthly salary of a captain? Is it $45,000, $35,000, $50,000, or $48,000? Okay, let's see what you selected. And the answer is $40,000. All right. Okay, so in the interest of time, for us to see a flight on the simulator, we'll go to the last question. All right.
Okay. Final question.
Where is Pro ATS located? So where are we located? Is it in King City Business Park, City, Piaco Boulevard, Port of Spain, or Shops Arena? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see what is selected. And the answer is oh, Trinity Park, Trinity. Okay, so we are approximately 5 minutes away from Trinity Mall. Let's see who the winners are.
Congratulations, Blue Team.
So we congratulate the Tigers.
Yes, and great job to all of you. Very, very well done. We're gonna play a quick little video here. Since you asked me about female pilots, I'm going to show you a female pilot in our simulator, and then I'm going to take you in for a live session. Miss George, how many minutes do we have left?
Well, I think so. We probably have about 9 minutes, if so much.
Okay, sure, that will work.
I want to thank Pro ATS for giving me this opportunity to be able to fly a jet simulator. I never thought I would have been in a pilot's seat and being able to control everything. It was honestly an amazing experience, and it was a thrill of a lifetime.
Okay, so we're gonna go live here in the simulator. So Captain John, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our live simulator demonstration. Hope you guys enjoy. Gonna do a takeoff for you all and maybe some turns and stuff, show you how the other pilot works. Yeah, stay tuned, enjoy.
And just before Captain John takes off, that instrument there is what we call the PFD, the primary flight display. That's our navigation display. There is our autopilot panel. Notice what Captain John has, the co-pilot has on his side. Those are the engine gauges and instruments. There's our flight management computers. There is our thrust lever quadrant. That is like the accelerator in your car. That gives our engines, if required, the full 52,000 pounds of thrust that it needs to carry us safely. Here are the radio panels. And up on top, we have our overhead panel. Outside, we are in Trinidad, Tobago International Airport, runway 10. And you can see the 10 in front of the aircraft. Okay, Captain John, we are ready. Ship papers on board. All pre-flight checks have been complete. Doors are closed. And they've given, control tower has given us the okay to clearance for takeoff.
Roger, Captain. Runway cleared for takeoff from 10. Radius 1.
Radius 1, climb runway heading to 10,000 feet. Maintain speed 170.
Climb runway heading 10,000 feet, maintain speed 170, radius 1. So I'm going to set my thrust levers to 40% and 1. We want to make sure that our engines are stable and increasing smoothly. If it doesn't, well, then we would not continue the takeoff. So we have a nice smooth increase in power. So I'm going to set takeoff power now. As we go down the runway, we monitor our airspeed. 80 knots. V1, rotate. At this point, I pull the control column towards me, and we climb. We have liftoff. We have a positive rate of climb. At this point in time, we're going to go gear up. Yes, I'm going to do a demonstrator turn for you all.
A nice clear blue skies today. Not like what you're seeing outside. All right, Captain John, I think our time is about to expire.
Okay.
So, is there anything you want to tell your 400 passengers?
Well, I hope you all would have enjoyed our flight on Proteus 1. Thanks for traveling with us. I hope to see you again soon to take you to your next destination. Stay safe, guys. Have fun. See you guys at the office for further questions. Take care.
And I think it's only fair that we show you Captain Nalini. And there is Captain Nalini.
Hello, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that session. See you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. This was really, really exciting. For us who are, of course, on lockdown, all of us, it is nice to be in a plane. Thank you very, very, very much. Could you just put your information up again so that we would be able to share it with the students? Thank you so much, Mr. Ragbear and team. I should say Captain Ragbear, Captain John, Captain Nalini, thank you very, very much for this wonderful presentation. So students, this is Pro ATS, Professional Airline Training Solutions. We thank you so much for being part of our virtual career day. So our 427 students, on behalf of all of them, we say thank you so much. So you would just put your information in the chat so that we would be able to pass the information on to the students. So thank you very much again.
And you're very, very welcome. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Okay, students, so moving right along, we have more exciting careers. We have Institute of Marine Affairs. Miss Crystal Ganislal is here with us to share about careers in the maritime industry, marine affairs. So without any further ado, I invite Miss Ganislal.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let me just begin. Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, it's a pleasure to be here. So let me just begin sharing my screen.
Sure. Thank you so much again.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, everyone can see this first slide, right? Careers in marine sciences.
Yes, we are seeing.
Okay. All right, great. So good morning again, everyone. And today I'm going to speak to you about some of the careers available in marine sciences. My name is Crystal Ganislal. I am with the Information Center of the Institute of Marine Affairs. We have been around, we're a scientific research organization, and we have been around for more than 40 years. We've added scientific knowledge in various fields, which include marine geology. We've done work on fisheries. We've contributed to coral reef research, as well as research on mangroves, chemistry, aquaculture, and even bathing beach water quality. So we're a research organization, and I belong to the Information Center, and we're involved in public education and outreach activities. We also produce publications, books, posters, brochures on things related to the marine environment. And we also publish newspaper articles to promote environmental education. We do outreach programs, and we also produce an annual tidal calendar. So that gives you the tidal readings from each day. There are 4 tides every day. There's 2 high tides and 2 low tides. So we produce an annual tidal calendar. So that's just some background into what the IMA does. Now, why should we study the ocean? What is the importance of learning about the ocean and researching it and wanting to know more about it? Now, the Earth is covered by over 71% with water, and it provides us with much food. The ocean provides us with food. It also provides us with minerals such as oil and gas. Okay, we're an economy that's based on oil and gas. get our revenue through oil and gas, which is a mineral that is derived from the ocean. We also get salt from the ocean. We get medicines, and it also contributes to various cycles, such as the carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, and half of the world's oxygen is actually provided by the ocean. It regulates our climate, and it also provides employment. It's the reason I have a job with we're a research organization. We study coastal and marine areas around Trinidad and Tobago. We also, it's also responsible for transportation. So it provides a variety of life. It supports many different flora and fauna, or plants and animals. It's a major influence on our weather and climate. And of course, it's a great source of inspiration for us and many recreational activities. Okay, so that's just to give you an overview of why is the ocean important. So why is there a need to study the ocean and for ocean sciences? Now, only less than 5% of our ocean has been explored. So, which means that there are many opportunities available for careers in marine sciences. Okay, there's new technology being developed, and there's room for much collaboration among different fields. So, when we think of oceanography or the study of marine sciences, we may think of perhaps a marine biologist, but this is only one aspect of marine sciences. So marine biology deals with the study of animals and plants and their relationship with each other and their environment, the interactions. But so it could involve things from studying plankton, looking at turtles, looking at worms, to studying even the largest animals like whales. So marine biology is very, very broad. And in the first picture, we have a Benthic Ecologist. So this is someone who works at the IMA, a Benthic Ecologist, and she's taking a core sample. She's using an instrument called a corer, and she's taking a core sample of the seabed. And in that sediment sample that she will get, she will look at it and she will wash it out, and she will look to see what types of animals there are present in that environment, which will give her an idea of the type of, it will contain indicator species, and that will give her an idea of the type of environment and how resilient it is, and it would be able to give her an idea about how healthy that type of environment is. And she would be able to learn about it and also what kinds of creatures exist there. So that's a Benthic Ecologist. At the Institute of Marine Affairs, or IMA, we have researchers who are involved in coral reef monitoring. So that middle top picture there, we have divers who go out and they monitor the health of coral reefs. We also have persons who look at the health of seagrasses in that third picture. So seagrasses are those blades of grass that are found on the bottom of the ocean in certain parts. If you've ever been to Chaguaramas, the IMA is located in Chaguaramas. If you've ever been on the boardwalk, that bay there is called Williams Bay. And Williams Bay once had a very large community of seagrasses, but throughout the years, with a lot of development that has happened, there haven't been a lot of seagrasses present anymore. And seagrasses, mangroves, coral reefs, these are wetlands. And these types of ecosystems are important because they protect our coastline. We're a small island, we're what you call a small island developing state. And coral reefs, seagrasses, and mangroves all offer coastline protection. So it's really important that we research it and that we're involved in conservation because they provide natural barriers in the event of storms, hurricanes, and tsunamis. They are our natural defense barrier. So seagrasses would slow down the waves, as well as coral reefs would offer shoreline protection, and mangroves. So that's one of their major functions, having them. And we also have persons who look at mangrove health. We have that person measuring the size, it's called the diameter at breast height, taking those measurements there out in the different mangrove forests. So those are some field pictures we have at the IME. But let me just give you a little clip of what coral reef monitoring would look like. So what that person was doing there was laying down a transect, and they would be looking at the species diversity or species abundance, or what types of corals there are in that particular area on that reef. So we have persons who, of course, are certified divers, and they will look at a particular area on a reef, and they will have a measuring tape, and they would plot out a particular area, a particular square. And there would be designated markers that they would put down, and they would return to it to monitor the health of it at another time. They would also take pictures. The diver above is taking pictures that they would be able to take back to the lab, and they would analyze it. So that's some of the coral reef work that they do. Okay, so I mentioned what marine biology was, but marine chemistry is another field under the broad area of marine sciences. So I mentioned marine biology is the study of the marine plants and animals and their interaction and behavior. But we also have marine chemistry, which is the study of, We also have marine chemistry, which is the study of chemical composition of seawater, as well as the impact of pollutants and their interaction with the atmosphere. So at IMU, we respond to what is called environmental incidents. So that is, if there's an oil spill or a fish kill that happens, a team of persons would go out and they would go to the particular location where there's the reported incident, and they will take samples. If it's an oil spill, they will collect a sample and they will bring it back to the lab, and they will run it through a type of equipment which will be able to tell them where the oil came from, what type it is, and the source of it. So we have laboratories at the IMA. We have a chemistry department that does this. We have persons who specialize in heavy metals. We have someone else who specializes in the petrochemicals as well as nutrients, and nutrient chemist. So there are various fields under even each one, under chemistry, under biology. We have a wetlands ecologist, we have a fisheries biologist, a benthic ecologist. So different persons assigned under each field. So we said the marine chemistry part. There's also the marine physics or marine geology sector, which is covered under marine sciences. So marine geology looks at the study of the ocean floor, the topography, the sedimentation, and marine physics deals with the study of the physical properties of the ocean, which looks at tides, circulation patterns, wind action. So we monitor how beaches change throughout Trinidad and Tobago, different beaches throughout our islands. We go out and we monitor it. We look at how beaches are changing. If any of you have ever visited a beach when you were younger and you return to it years later, you may notice that it looks quite different. You don't have as much sand or as much space to play football or to play cricket. It's because beaches are dynamic, which means they're always changing. They may erode, they may lose sand, or they may accrete, build up sand. There's sediment changing from one place to the next. If it's losing in one area, it may be deposited in another area. So we have a long-term monitoring program. So we have been monitoring the changes throughout different beaches throughout Trinidad and Tobago since the 1980s. So we have quite a lot of data on the beaches, right? To be able to advise governments as to, which one is changing the most, which one is experiencing the most erosion, and the erosion rates that are occurring. So that's the marine geology aspect. And I belong to the Information Center, so we are involved in the education and outreach. So when the researchers go and they conduct their research, our department will put it into information that will be relatable to the public, and we will share the research that is happening and share it with the public, and we conduct outreach sessions. So just to put it into context, what does a beach profile involve? I'll play for you a video of what our geology team will go out and do during a beach profile when they visit the different beaches that they're monitoring. Okay, so there is quite a lot of field work involved if you work in that department, and they get to visit our beaches and they conduct their research. So there's quite a lot of field work that is involved, but not only field work. When they finish the field work, they have to come back and they have to analyze the data that they would have collected and write it up into reports. So yes, there is field work involved, but there are other parts as well, office work that is required. So it's not like every day you would spend in the field. Okay, so that would be like a physical oceanographer that will be the researcher responsible for the data that is collected from the beach profiles. We have marine technicians who would go out and assist our researchers. For example, as I mentioned, at a fish kill or an oil spill, a team of persons will go out and they would assist in getting the samples and bringing it back to the lab, and also assisting with the analysis of the samples. So a microbiologist would be another person employed at the IMA, and he deals with looking at the health of bathing beach water quality. So at some of your favorite beaches, we will monitor and we will be able to tell if there's a lot of contaminants or a lot of pollutants in the water. If anybody ever took a dip in the ocean and in the sea, went to the sea, you took a sea bath and you found your eye was itching when you came out, or you got some sort of a skin rash, or you got like an air infection, chances are there may have been some sort of pollutant or contaminant in the water that gave you that reaction. So our microbiologist would look at to see how healthy the water is, how good the water quality is at certain beaches, at many popular bathing beaches throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And we will be able to advise the government. We're a research organization, so we are an advisory role. We make our research available to the government. We also have a library there for persons interested in finding out more information later on, as you, if it is later on, if you choose sciences and you have to conduct an SBA, we also have a library for research purposes if you students need information. Okay, so those are some of the marine science careers at IMA. Those are not all, I just outlined a few. But we also have marine-related careers for persons who may not necessarily be interested in becoming, for example, a marine chemist or a marine biologist. We have laws that apply to the sea, the same way there are laws that apply on land. There's maritime law for persons interested in studying law, for persons interested in doing engineering. There's, if you want to build a jetty on the beach or you want to construct a hotel on the beach, marine engineers would need to be consulted and involved in that process. For students who are interested in doing journalism or writing, you could become a science journalist or an environmental journalist. And there's also the maritime aspect of it. If it is you're interested in, you're looking to do more of that field, you could start off as a deck officer, and then a second officer, and work your way up to becoming a captain. And there are also marinas that you can work at to become a marina manager. IMA is located in Chaguaramas, and there are several marinas around in Chaguaramas because there are many boats that are docked there. And if you're interested in the arts and you like the underwater world, it's full of wonder and room for exploration, you can become an underwater photographer or even an underwater videographer. So these are ways to be involved with the marine area. Now, if you go into this field, there are two distinct paths that you can take. You can either go to contribute to research and conservation, be involved in conservation, or you can be involved in the education side of things or science communication, perhaps teach. And what are the qualifications if you decide to enter this field? Okay, so you would need a degree to start off with. So some of the qualifications for university, for those of you who are thinking of choosing sciences, you would need your English language and maths plus your sciences. I would suggest doing as many sciences as possible just to get a good foundation. And then you can go on to do your CAPE or A-levels, one of which must be a science. And there's also, if persons don't do the A-levels or the CAPE, there's another program called the Pre-Science or N1 program that can qualify you for university or even with a diploma or associate's degree. So I know I'm speaking to forms 1 and 2. So this is just additional information for you guys. At the St. Augustine campus at UWI, there are different majors that you can pursue in various fields like biochemistry, biology, environmental science. So these will all line up if it is you wanted to pursue a degree, if you wanted to pursue a career in marine sciences. So these are some of the programs that are offered at UWI. If you choose to, you could go UTT, which offers a first degree as well in coastal and ocean management. They also have a degree offered in nautical sciences if you're more interested in maritime operations, looking at the port and operation side of things. There's University of Southern Caribbean, another university that offers similar programs, biology with either emphasis on zoology or the biomedical field. And there's COSTAT with similar programs. For people who choose to study outside of Trinidad but still stay within the region, there's the Mona campus, UWI Mona campus, that offers a major in marine biology. I don't think in Trinidad there's a major offered. There's a minor offered in marine biology, but in Jamaica there's the major. Or you can go to St. George's University in Grenada, and they have another program that is similar. So besides the academic qualifications that you will need to enter this field, you'll be constantly writing grants and proposals. You'll be writing research papers, reviewing papers from other researchers. So you'll need strong verbal communication and writing skills. You'll be presenting the results of your research at various conferences, professional conferences. So you will need good analytical skills. Of course, when you're involved in research, you need to be able to show initiative, to work as a team as well as independently. And in this field, persons are usually curious about the ocean and they are interested in it. So a sense of curiosity and discovery, because there's so much to learn and so much to still be explored about how the ocean affects us, and because it's another world being explored. So a sense of curiosity is very important in this area. Now, some of you may be wondering, what is the job outlook like in the future? So employment in this field is competitive. However, job growth is expected in a number of areas. There is a concept called the blue economy, and that encourages us to better utilize our ocean resources and look for opportunities for combining economic growth while maintaining the health of our ocean. So there's a lot of opportunities under this concept of the blue economy. Trinidad and Tobago are small islands in the Caribbean. We have small islands and our land to sea ratio is quite small. We have 15 times more sea than land. So I'm just going to play for you a short clip of a video called The Blue Economy, a Marine Spatial Planning video. So it will just give you a different perspective of Trinidad and Tobago to be able to bring things into context for you here. Okay, so there are certain industries that are already established, like the fisheries, there's seafood processing, shipping, port activities, shipbuilding, of course, oil and gas. Those listed on the left-hand side, but under the blue economy, because there are so many opportunities, there are emerging ocean-based industries, and these include looking at things like marine aquaculture. So that is looking, that deals with food security. There's looking at renewable energy, things like wind energy and ocean renewable energy. Oil and gas will eventually run out. It's a non-renewable resource. So we need to look at alternative ways. There's also the field of marine biotechnology. And this involves the use of living resources and pharmaceuticals and for pharmaceuticals and chemicals, right? So there are diverse marine ecosystems that are explored and exploited through research and development of new products. So for example, anti-leukemia drug development and its chemicals were extracted from a Caribbean sea sponge. And also pain medication, chronic pain medication was developed in the past from a venom of a conch shell. So there are many new fields that are emerging, and we would need persons interested in doing research for these types of fields. So there are many, many opportunities that are coming up in terms of the marine science. Right, so this brings me to the end of my presentation today. I hope I would have provided some information to you on the broader umbrella of marine sciences that is not only limited to one aspect like marine biology that persons may be aware of. Okay, so just in closing, the IMA, we have an app where you can report environmental incidents to us through the app. I know no one is really out and about and beaches are closed, but just for future reference, that you can report environmental incidents to us through our app that you can download and receive information, and even get the tidal updates, get the tidal readings every day on the app. And you can connect with us on the various social media platforms. If you wanted to get more information, you can check our website at www.ima.gov.tt. Okay, so I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ganislal. We have quite a number of questions for you.
Right.
So I'm starting with the first one. Miss, how deep is the ocean?
How deep is the ocean? I believe the deepest part of the ocean is the Mariana Trench. It's in the Pacific Ocean, but I don't have the exact figure for you. I don't have.
All right.
I don't have the
Okay.
meters. Sorry.
All right. So I would say that it's very, very, very deep.
Yeah, I could check it online now.
All right. So while you're checking, let me just move on to the other question. A student is saying, how could you overcome working underwater because it seems so very scary?
Oh, okay. So not everyone who works at the IMA does scuba diving. Some people may do it recreationally, but other persons will do it as part of their job. So we have we have dive masters who go out and they would do the coral reef monitoring. When we're doing monitoring, our coral reef ecologist she's a certified diver. And once you're trained and you have enough practice and you follow all the safety precautions, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's quite fascinating when you do diving.
All right. Thank you so much.
Not scary.
Another question. Do biologists, and don't mind some of, I know that you may have answered some in the presentation, but it's just the nature of children. And I want to give them the opportunity to hear their questions. So one is asking, do biologists know how to treat ocean creatures that are dying and very, very sick?
Okay, so to be able to treat animals that are dying and very, very sick would involve some sort of rehabilitation. So our fisheries biologists wouldn't be involved too much in the rehabilitation of the animals. But what I forgot to mention was that we also have a fish age and growth lab. So we have a lab that a few of our fisheries biologists, they look at the age and growth of a fish. So how do we determine that? We determine that because fish have certain bones in their head that produce seasonal or annual rings. The same way, if we look at the trunk of a tree and we cut it and we look at cut it cross-sectionally and we look at the rings on a tree trunk, we're able to tell the age of a tree. We're able to know the age of a fish by certain bones that are located in their head because of the rings that are deposited, right? So unfortunately, when we are doing our research, we have to get the heads of fish and they won't be alive.
Wow.
But it's for research purposes.
Okay, all right. Another question. What are some of the health regulations for training to work in marine sciences?
Okay, well, if it is, you have to, if it is diving is involved as part of your job, you will need to be certified. You would have to have log a certain number of hours and become open water certified. And once you would usually be sent for a medical to determine your medical fitness to work. But it's not any specific requirements. I mean, of course, if it is you're going to learn to dive, you should be able to swim, should be a strong swimmer as well. But we take safety precautions when we go out there.
All right. If you can just reiterate the subjects required at this level in secondary school, what are some of the subjects that students should pursue?
Right, so you would need to do the sciences, the biology, the chemistry, physics, geography to get a good foundation throughout, because later on even if you do those subjects and you do your A levels and you go on to university, usually if you want to become a marine biologist or a marine chemist or a physical oceanographer, you would require more than a first degree. You would need a master's degree minimum. So if you do a 3 to 4 year degree, then you would need to continue on for another 2 years or even pursue an MPhil degree. And then you'll be able to be qualified in that field. So at this level, to choose the sciences, biology, chem, maths, yeah.
Thanks very much. I think in your presentation, when you were showing the underwater photographer as well as the person who was doing the profile, I think on the beach, a question came in: what are the tools needed for this type of work?
The tools you need we have technicians who will go out in the field to assist our researchers. So our researchers will go out for the beach profiling. We have we don't really have drivers at the IMA. The researchers or the technicians we have vehicles at the IMA. We have vessels as well that would assist. Like if it's a shallow area, we have like a particular type of vessel that is able to go into shallow areas, swampy areas, because of the shape of the vessel. It's able to go into swamps. So we have persons who would assist on the boats, like we have a boat captain, we have boat engineers when we need to go out in those areas. So they would have qualifications in those areas. And we also have field assistants who would enable us, but the field assistants may not necessarily have a degree, but of course all of them would be able to be strong swimmers because they are involved around water.
All right. As I said, we have many questions. I see many persons interested in marine sciences. How many years does it take to become a marine engineer?
Okay, so a first degree may be about 3 to 4 years, and then if you do a master's, say 6 years minimum, or you could do maybe a 1 year master's as well. So maybe 5 to 6 years.
Okay, thanks. Another question: how dangerous is it working in the sea?
Okay, so the persons who go out and they do diving and around diving, they don't look at it as dangerous. They look at it as an adventure because it's not a typical office job where you go in and you spend 8 hours behind a desk. There is a sense of adventure and a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day, because people who work in this field are passionate about the environment and believe they're contributing positively. So people wouldn't look at it as dangerous because you will be taking safety precautions.
All right, thank you so much. A question came in: do we catch invasive species as well?
Okay, so you may be familiar with a particular marine invasive species, which is called the lionfish. And yes, we do encourage persons to hunt them and capture them and eat them even, because they are a problem on our reefs. They have no natural predators, and they are competing with all of the things that we like to eat. So because there are no natural predators, they are eating everything on the reef that we like to eat. So it can cause a lot of problems on our reef, because if they would just keep destroying the reef and they would just keep multiplying and multiplying. So that is a major problem that we have.
Okay, and with that, another question: what are some of the plants of the sea that are deadly, if there are any?
Okay, so I have a brochure here on harmful marine creatures. So if someone is snorkeling or diving, you may encounter a fire coral that you will not want to touch. Of course, that can give you very painful stings. There are also things like the lionfish, because they have venomous spines. It can give you, it can be very, very painful. Things like the man-o-war jellyfish that you will see washed up popularly along the East Coast if it's Manzanilla. So even if it is, you see it on the sand, we don't advise people to step on it or go near it, because even if the tentacles are detached from the body, it can still sting you. Right? So don't go pop in that balloon and step on it, because the tentacles are all over. Things like what plants specifically? Let me check in this here. I'm not sure of any plants off the top of my head, but there are certain species that you wouldn't want to get too close to. For example, like the eels, because they can give you a very, very painful bite. Like cracklefish as well. So there's some harmful marine creatures.
Okay. What about the rescuing of turtles? Do you all engage in the rescuing of turtles? And if so, how many do we rescue?
Okay, so no, we're not involved in the rescuing of turtles. We would have done research, a significant amount of research on the leatherback turtle in past years, but involved in the rescuing aspect, no, we're not involved in that.
Okay. Another question, the salaries of the various professions that you highlighted, if you could just give like a range.
Oh, okay, so when persons who they would come in, maybe if we have technicians, so the technicians would have an associate's degree or A-level qualification. But these days now it's so competitive, even though a degree may not be required for a particular post, because things are so competitive. We have, even though it's not a requirement for the job, we have persons with degrees applying for technician positions. So the starting salary, we have technicians that are Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3, and they can start at about 4,500. That's just an estimate. We have junior research officers. Those persons will have a first degree, and the starting salary may be over 8,000. A research officer who has completed a first degree as well as has a master's degree, they can start at over 10,000. We have senior research officers. They would have a master's degree as well, and a number of years of experience as well as publications. They would have published papers, and they might start over 15 or 17,000. And then we also have principal research officers. So those are persons who would have pursued an MPhil as well as or a PhD. They would have gone on to do their doctorate, and starting salary would be over 20,000. They would also have years of experience and publications as well.
All right. A student is asking, because you highlighted the sciences, is geography also considered a subject that they should also pursue?
Yeah, geography is considered one of the sciences. It would, because at this level, when you do it for CXC, it will just give you sort of an introduction and an overview. And geography, yeah, I encourage you to do geography. It's a lovely subject.
Okay, coming back to the dangerous side again. If a diver or someone who is engaged in the profession, I assume they're asking underwater, if there is death, how is that treated?
Okay, so when you're involved and if you're working and part of your job involves diving, one of the first rules when you're diving is to dive with a buddy. You always dive with a buddy, you never dive alone. So you have that safety mechanism in place. And for experienced divers, they would have to monitor their oxygen levels, and they would know their equipment and be familiar with it, with the regulator and all types of equipment. And they would know if they are getting into difficulty. And if they don't know, then their buddy should be, they would be communicating with them underwater. So yes, death is a possibility, but they don't go, it's not like they go into the depths. We don't do deep water research. So that's not something when you're talking about a coral reef, going on a coral reef is not deep water. Coral reefs are shallower areas. And I did check it online. The average depth of the ocean is over 12,000 feet. And
Wow.
one of the deepest parts is over 36,000 feet.
Wow.
So we don't do deep water diving within our research. So a coral reef might be, it would be less than 100 feet down. So coral reefs occur in shallower areas. So it's not very, very deep our divers would be going. There is risk involved, of course, but they would take all of their safety precautions. It's not like they're going down there and they're scared. They're going down there to work. It does require a certain level of fitness because you're not there and you're not just looking around and exploring. Like if you go recreationally, they actually have to go, they carry equipment, they lay down the transects, they have a lot to do, perhaps over that 45-minute dive or so. And then they come up and sometimes they go on 2 or 3 dives a day. So there is a level of fitness that is required.
Okay, and this final question, in terms of the persons, the biologists who would check the health of the coral, in executing the job, is it possible to kill a coral?
Yes, it is possible for it to be killed. They would also, because there are things that naturally kill corals. For example, we have bleaching events. Climate change is real. When the temperatures change, if there's a storm surge, if there are drastic changes in the temperature, for example, if there's a pollutant released and it reaches the coral reefs, yes, it can die. Coral reefs are they grow very slowly, sometimes less than 1 centimeter a year. So that's why when tour boat operators go out, they advise persons not to step on the reefs, not to walk on the reefs, not to remove anything from the reefs, because you'd have persons who would be selling souvenirs that are collected from the reefs. And when you remove it, of course, it no longer lives, it's no longer able to thrive. Corals are living animals that are there. So in doing the research, they try to be as careful as they possibly can and they're not actually removing any coral. They're just looking at the health of it and doing the measurements. But of course, if someone, it is possible for accidents to happen.
Okay, thank you so much. So you see, we have a lot of budding marine biologists, probably an underwater photographer, microbiologist. We have quite a number of students who have filtered their questions because indeed it was a very interesting presentation. So we thank you so much, Ms. Ganislal, for your time and for your education as you shared the various careers as it pertains to marine sciences. So thank you so much. For the stream observer, Ms. Ganislal has put her information in the chat, so we will just filter it to our students. So students, we had a wonderful morning. We were not only in the air, but we were also in the sea. So we had the best of both worlds this morning, the best of both worlds. So sincerely, I hope you are not only enthusiastic, but you are looking forward to the other careers that we are going to expose you to tomorrow. We may not be in the air and the sea tomorrow, but we are